Now, despite recent assurances by the Central Bank of Nigeria that there is enough naira in circulation, reports of scarcity have emerged across the country. You know how we do it, so over the next half hour, we will be looking beyond the business headlines by bringing you in-depth perspectives on what's happening in the business world. Stories we'll be taking a look at today includes a monetary policy committee, exchange rate, statistical review, food price hike. These and more comes to you after the break. Stay with us. Well, hello and welcome to Business This Week today. My name is Chinwe Nwokocha. We begin today's news with the Central Bank of Nigeria has postponed the meeting of its Monetary Policy Committee for a second time since Governor Olayemi Cardoso was nominated to the post in September, leaving investors gazing as there was no official communication. The delay comes as the foreign exchange backlog worth several billions of dollars has not been fully cleared. The CBN had earlier this month cleared over 75 to 80% of outstanding matured FX contracts with banks. The MPC, which usually meets bi-monthly, has not met since July when it raised the monetary policy rate, also known as the main interest rate, by 25 basis points to 18.75%. It was expected to hold its last meeting for the year early this week. Recall that in September 26th, Cardoso announced plans to clear about $7 billion in FX backlog, while Edun, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, had said the government was expecting $10 billion to ease dollar liquidity in the FX market. And Nigeria's naira weakened across official and unofficial markets as dollar shortages linger on Tuesday and Wednesday on the foreign exchange market. Today, naira fell to 1,150 naira per dollar, losing 0.43% over 1,145 naira per dollar at the parallel market, also known as the black market. Some street traders bought dollars at 1,145 naira and sold at 1,150 naira. There is dollar, but demand is high, said Aboki, a foreign currency trader based in Lagos. Meanwhile, at the autonomous foreign exchange market, NAFEM, Nigeria's official FX market, the naira depreciated by 10.78% as the dollar was quoted at 830.97 naira on Tuesday, as against 750 naira quoted on the previous day. Data from the FMDQ indicated. Currency dealers quoted dollars as high as 1,121 naira on the spot segment and as low as 600 naira per dollar. The daily foreign exchange market turnover declined by 3.71% to $122.46 million on Tuesday from $176 million recorded on Monday. Moving on, there are indications that the country may experience a scarcity of foreign used vehicles, popularly known as Takumba cars, as dealers complain of import difficulties. Car dealers who spoke with newsmen blamed the high exchange rate, which had affected the duty rate, among others, for the latest development. The State Secretary of the Lagos State Motor Dealers Association, Mr. Olaniran Adelana, said it was difficult to sell the old cars because they were not sure of getting new ones. Adelana said some dealers had gone out of businesses because of the current challenge, adding that the recent gain by naira against the dollar was insignificant. Meanwhile, the federal government has lost an estimated $16 trillion to natural gas flaring in 10 years, a report obtained within the week has shown. The Energy Institute's 72nd edition of the Statistical Review of World Energy 2023 said the amount was lost from 2012 to 2022. A breakdown of the statistics showed that upstream and downstream oil and gas firms operating in the country flared the highest amount of gas in 2012, estimated at 12.9 billion cubic meters of natural gas, 9.2 billion cubic meters in 2013, 8.3 billion in 2014, and 7.5 billion cubic meters in 2015. The flare kept decreasing as the year rolled by, with 7.2 billion cubic meters flared in 2016. Flaring again rose to 7.5 billion cubic meters in 2017, before plummeting to 7.3 billion cubic meters in 2018, and then rose to 7.8 billion cubic meters in 2019. And the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service has deployed an upgraded process for the collection of hotel occupancy and restaurants consumption tax in the state. In a statement signed by the Executive Chairman, LIRS, Ayodele Subaru, yesterday, the LIRS said that the new collection process called the Eco-Fiscal System is an automated invoicing solution designed to revolutionize the collection of consumption of taxes in Lagos State. The new EFS will affect the operations of the public, operators and owners of hotels, event centers, restaurants, bars, and other related facilities in Lagos State. And in the oil sector, the petroleum tanker drivers arm of the Nigeria Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers has threatened to pull out of NUPENG. PTD declared that it would pull out of the oil union if NUPENG's national president, William Oreha, and his general secretary, Olawale Afolabi, failed to resign from their positions. The tanker drivers disclosed this in a statement issued in Abuja and jointly signed by Gbenga Olawale and Adekunle Rufai of PTD, Ibadan Depot. The statement said the drivers staged the protest across the country, putting plant leaves in front of their truck, and warned NUPENG and the police against interference and incessant harassment of their leaders. They alleged that the NUPENG president lacked the required competence to lead the union because he was not a member of the oil union. According to them, Williams was a cook in an oil company from the formal sector and was sacked from the company while holding the office of the National Treasurer of NUPENG. Nigeria again demanded that shipping companies pay outstanding tax bills totaling millions of dollars, reviving a dispute that triggered a spike in freight costs and prompted some tankers to steer clear of its waters. Africa's largest crude producers said non-resident shipping lines that take oil from the country should settle their notices by December 31st deadline. The assessments were reviewed in June by an industry group. The cost of shipping of oil from Nigeria surged the most in more than a year in June after some vessel owners avoided the West African nation when it tried to claw back unpaid duties dating as far back as 2010. Meanwhile, in aggregate, some claims reached tens of millions of dollars. The dispute was blamed in part of a resulting glut of unsold oil. A committee of oil sector regulators, state-owned Nigerian National Petroleum Company, the FIRS, and the President's office subsequently was set up to reconcile the company's obligations. And moving on, despite recent assurances by the Central Bank of Nigeria that there is enough naira in circulation, reports of scarcity have emerged across the country. A survey by newsmen confirmed scarcity in some parts of Abuja, Lagos, Kano, Kwara, Gombe, Edo, Sokoto, and Ekiti states. Many bank customers and point-of-sales operators lament that it is becoming a challenge to access cash for their economic activities. This is coming weeks after the Apex Bank affirmed that it has enough currency notes in the market and hence no need for panic withdrawals by the members of the public. In a circular titled, "All banknotes issued by the CBN remain legal tender," signed by Director Corporate Communication Issa Abdulmomin, the bank stated that it was aware of reported scarcity of cash across some major cities. He noted that there have also been concerns amongst some members of the public over the legalities of old Naira notes. It cautioned members of the public to avoid panic withdrawals and stressed that it has enough currency notes to facilitate normal economic activities. And it's time for a short break. And when we return, the program continues. Do stay with us.
In this 21st century, where all the information we need is now in the palm of our hands. News from around the world, entertainment, celebrity gossip, sports, and much more. The only thing that you need is the right source. Viewer TV is now on the go. Simply check us out on our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter for all the information you need.
Good morning, gentlemen. I'm at the Envoy Hotel, Diplomatic Drive 305, here for a business weekend. It's been an amazing stay. Conference hall and business facilities here are stylish and innovative. The Envoy Hotel is luxury, esoteric, opulence, for ultimate comfort.
Discerning travelers, we are more than just a place to stay. We are an icon of comfort, style, and thoughtful luxury. We are Envoy Hotel.
Welcome back, and it's glad to know that you're still here with us. Moving on, the federal government has announced the launch of a portal for the Startup Support and Engagement Portal. The portal, which is a key requirement of the implementation of the Nigeria Startup Act, is meant to drive the identification and aggregation of startups in the country. The Minister of Communications, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, disclosed this on X within the week. The startup portal will drive the identification and aggregation of Nigerian startups, venture capital companies, hubs, and innovation centers to facilitate engagement and support for ecosystem players. He highlighted that the launch of the portal will allow the government to initiate the process of setting up startup consultative forums to select representatives to the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship to facilitate a discourse and consensus among ecosystem players. This development is coming a year after the Startup Act was signed into law by the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Moving on, the recent study conducted by the Dane Institute for Research disclosed that Lagos, the commercial hub of Nigeria, is losing a staggering 4 trillion naira annually attributed to profound traffic congestion. The study, titled Behavioral Causes of Traffic Congestion in Lagos, funded by the Bank of Industry and Africa Finance Corporation, underscores the need for immediate action to alleviate the economic and social toll. According to the executive director of the Dane Institute of Research, Franca Ovaje, the staggering loss could otherwise be directed toward vital sectors such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure development. The report identifies behavioral factors as the primary culprits, including poor road infrastructure, violation of traffic laws, activities of agueros at the bus stops, and buses picking up passengers. Ovaje emphasized that the 21 million strong population of Lagos is not translating into corresponding productivity due to the crippling impact of traffic jams in daily lives. Meanwhile, the federal government has indicated that its plan to raise tax to gross domestic product ratio to 18% in the next 3 years would be achieved through enforcement of compliance to relevant tax laws. Speaking at the Commerce and Industry Correspondents Association of Nigeria annual workshop awards, themed Effects of Federal Tax Reform on Economy, Chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, said this would allay the fears in some quarters that the targeted revenue may engender the imposition of additional or new taxes. Adedeji, who was represented by Director and Coordinator FIRS Lagos Island, Fadekemi Oyeniye, underscored taxation as the lifeblood of any economy, saying it provides the necessary funding for government to carry out its functions and implement policies that foster growth and development. He added that it is imperative that tax policy reforms are effective, fair, and encourage investment and innovation. Nigerians spent 61.08 trillion naira on food and other household items and services in the first 6 months of 2023, the National Bureau of Statistics has revealed. This is a 2.85% increase from the 59.39 trillion naira that was spent in the corresponding period of 2022 at the current purchasers' value. Household consumption continues to account for the largest share of the country's gross domestic product. The NBS stated in its Nigerian gross domestic product report first and second quarters. Household consumption expenditure consists of expenditure including imputed expenditure incurred by a resident household on individual consumption goods and services, the statistics body explained. In 2020, real household consumption expenditure declined in first and second quarters, accounting for negative growth rates informed by the pandemic. However, positive growth rates were recorded from third quarters of 2022 due to recovery from the pandemic. And manufacturers of food and beverages have reduced production by 20% following declining demand from consumers as a result of persistent rise in prices, reflected in further rise in food inflation rate to 31.52% in October. The fall in demand has also made it difficult for these manufacturers to sell finished goods as their stock of unsold finished goods rose by 34.03% year-on-year to 78.82 billion naira in the 9 months ending September 30th. Now recall that the inflation rate in Nigeria has been on a constant increase, rising by 5.95 percentage points to 26.72% in September 2023 from 20.77% a year ago, triggered by various factors including high energy cost, insecurity, especially in the farming communities in Nigeria, Russia-Ukraine war, amongst others. Besides, the pump price of petrol, otherwise known as premium motor spirit, has risen by 127.8% this year alone, from 257 naira per litre in January 2023 to an average of 650 naira per litre in September. All this combines to pressure consumer wallets and undermine their purchasing power. And rice consumption in the country has been on a steady rise beyond the reach of local supply, leading to a supply gap of about 2 million metric tons annually, a new report has disclosed. This has led to an over 37% increase in the price of the commodity so far in 2023. This was revealed in AFEX wet season crop production report for 2023. So far, Nigeria has spent over $15 billion in the past decade to meet its expanding rice consumption, despite its potential to be a net rice exporter, the firm stated. Globally, rice prices reached their highest point in nearly 12 years in 2023, primarily due to India's ban on rice exports and the potential impact of El Nino on production in key regions. These factors, along with rain-induced disruptions and variations in quality during Vietnam's summer-autumn harvest, have further contributed to the price surge. The Nigerian Exchange Limited has called on the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria to prioritize listed corporates in their procurement process and access to foreign exchange. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the NGX, Temi Popula, this approach would encourage more companies to list on the exchange and mitigate the prevalent FX challenges in the economy. Popula, who spoke at the last MTN Capital Markets Day, pointed out that NGS is excited about the administration of President Bola Tinubu and its renewed hope agenda as it presents an opportunity to work with market stakeholders, including the regulators, to address the challenges faced by the government and listed corporates. Well, that's so much we can take on business this week today. My name is Chinwe Nwokota. From all of us here at Viewer Television, we say thank you and see you same time next week. Bye for now.